It was the best of video ideas. It was the worst of video ideas. The opening line in every book is important. It's one of the reasons why someone might decide to read on or just put the book away. While not every book has a great opening line, and not every opening line is followed by a great book, the correlation is often very strong. So with that nonsense out of the way, this is my video for some of my favorite opening lines in books that I've read. It's just a few caveats here before we get started. These are only books that I have read. So unfortunately, I have not read A Tale of Two Cities, so the opening line that I was parodying will not be on this list, even though it is one of the most iconic opening lines in history. I haven't read it, I don't know what to tell you. These are just going to be the first sentence. I know there was at least one where the opening paragraph was one of my favorites, but I'm just going to cut it off at the first sentence. And this will include novels, novellas, short stories, and a mixture of them. And as usual, not in any kind of order. And these are all going to be very predictable. If you've watched any video like this before, you're probably going to see a lot of the same ones that have been on others. So just so you're aware of that. So without further ado, let's go. The first one is from The Gunslinger by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Just an iconic line. It really sets up the crux of the story. It tells you who the characters are and what they're doing. And it really sets the scene. Next up is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Of course, you know I had to put a Ray Bradbury book in here somewhere. It was a pleasure to burn. The Martian by Andy Weir. I'm pretty much fucked. Next up, we're going to go with To Kill a Mockingbird. When he was nearly 13, my brother Jem got his arm badly broken at the elbow, which at first glance doesn't seem to really play into the story very much, but once you get to the ending, kind of makes more sense once you go back and reread the first line, so very well done. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. All this happened, more or less. Again, it really sets the tone for the story. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. Life of Pi by Jan Martel. My suffering left me sad and gloomy. Let's go with a shorter story this time. This is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This is one that just sets the scene. Not a lot of frill or fanciness to it. He was an old man who fished alone in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he had gone 84 days now without taking a fish. 1984 by George Orwell. It was a bright day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Now I've got a few from Edgar Allan Poe, of course. The Mask of the Red Death. The Red Death had long devastated the country. The Cask of Amontillado. The 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could, but when he ventured upon insult, I vowed revenge. And the longest of the group, The Fall of the House of Usher. During the whole of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the autumn of the year, when the clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens, I had been passing alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of country, and at length found myself, as the shades of the evening drew on, within view of the melancholy House of Usher. Notes from Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I am a sick man. I am a spiteful man. I am an unattractive man. So, what do we end the video? Well, that's a list of my favorite opening lines from books that I've read, most of which I've liked. So are any of your favorites in this list? Let me know down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget